So my name's Duncan McCall. I'm co-founder and CEO of a company called PlaceIQ. PlaceIQ is about 6 years old, based in New York, about 150 people. And we've really been focused on one thing relentlessly for the last 6 years, and that's using mobile and location to build a new understanding of consumer behavior. And today what I'm going to talk about is how mobile and location can really build this new understanding of consumer behavior and how that can be applied, not just in one or two mediums, but across an organization to really have a profound impact. And I'm going to quickly step you through a case study where we're actually using mobile connected to television, to addressable television, to measure the impact on foot traffic from television ads. So you might be saying to yourself, hang on a second, what does this brand new understanding mean? Is that just a buzzword? Is there really something here? So think of this, right? The center of our worlds now is, we really do have a remote control for our world. That cliche has become true. It's a smartphone. The great thing about a smartphone is, unlike a television or a laptop, a smartphone is typically keyed to one individual. If you can understand a smartphone, you can typically understand an individual. They also create data, they provide a hub for data, and suddenly you start thinking, well, this thing is really powerful, right? And they're a sensor, so they create all sorts of interesting data. Obviously, they create movement data. And the scale now, just to give you an idea, in the US, we see about 10 billion movement data points a day, opted in anonymously, privacy-friendly from mobile apps. And we use that to build an observed understanding of about 100 million consumers. So those are consumers we actually understand well. So suddenly you can build all of these profiles and behavioral audiences, and we know that's really powerful. But if you now start to say, hey, I can see consumers on car dealerships, in retail stores, and you now say, I'm going to use that mobile device to connect to another data set, which is third-party data, you can now go further than just understanding that someone's been on a car dealership. You can connect the Polk vehicle registration data and say, now I can understand if they're actually in market, what type of car they own. We bridge in all sorts of data, television viewership, retail purchase, obviously auto ownership. So think of television. You can go the other way. We can literally say, let's look at all the people who watch the Golf Channel, because we have a partnership with RenTrack, we see the viewership data, and those people who actually watch the Golf Channel, do they actually play golf? Do they really go and play golf in the world? Maybe they don't. Maybe they're passionate tennis players that just like to watch golf. You can see that in the data. And now the last piece, so think about first-party data. You can now bridge in through mobile first-party data. Data management platform, CRM system. So suddenly, you think of the stack. You can see a person on an automotive dealership. You know whether that person is in market or not. Now you can see, has that same consumer been onto my website? Have they, interacted with my, car configurator? Actually, what's the correlation between web pages on my website and visitation to a car dealership? And the other way around, what dealerships are driving the highest visitation to my website? So these three things, movement data, third party, first party, that's what we talk about when we say, hey, this is a new understanding of consumer behavior. What can you do with this? Target, analyze, measure foot traffic, and ultimately understand. And if you were to say, well, obviously we can use this on mobile, the way to think about this data that I think is really compelling is this isn't mobile data, this isn't location data, this is consumer data. And in this cross-screen identity graph world, you can apply this on display, on video, on social. You want to build an audience from the real world and put it into Facebook, you can do that. You want to take it and actually use it to understand the types of audiences passing billboards, you can do that. You want to help retailers plan store locations, you can do that. All real examples, email, direct mail. Television is, a really compelling one that we found very interesting. So I thought with that, I'd quickly blast you through a case study in terms of mobile and television working together. So, we all know television, just to state the normal cliches, right? You've got an ad form, and that's consistent, lean-back experience. But as you've heard during this conference, television is increasingly becoming digital in many different ways. And addressable television, as Dave Morgan was talking about yesterday, there's many different types, but one of the fundamental assets of addressable is the ability to show specific ads or not to certain households. And of course, to connect in all sorts of interesting data sets. So about a year ago, we said, well, what about if we took addressable TV and we connected it to mobile? We worked with Axiom, privacy-friendly way to bridge our devices and their behaviors into television households through addressable TV. And now we can say, okay, if we've got, and this is a real case study, if we've got a client that wants to be able to selectively target households with ads for a new car model and then measure, did those television ads actually drive incremental traffic to a dealership, we can do that. So how do you do that? Firstly, using location data and third-party data, you can create the targeting group. Then secondly, the agency can run the campaign. Certain households are seen. The thing I love about addressable TV, you can deterministically tell whether the ad was actually shown in the household. You don't know who's watching it in the household, but you can see it wasn't skipped, it was shown. And then, of course, we can passively monitor those devices in those households that saw the ad, what was their actual visitation in the world, and we can look at the analytics, the consumer journey from the derived data as well. So results, I want to point out, I can't stress enough that when we do these things, we've got pretty good at it now. We really do a really considerable B control. So 32% of the targeting group we held back as a control, and then comparing target to control, we saw a 47% uplift in the people who saw the ads to the physical car dealerships. 48% of those people went in the same week, and that actually worked out to 245 incremental store visits. And that isn't a projection, that's not modeled, that's raw data. So the real figure was probably significantly higher. The thing to say is, okay, is this a one-off? Is this scalable? We've applied this across a bunch of verticals, in linear television as well as addressable television. And these are average results, but we've seen incredible success. And the other piece is when you connect to mobile, you're able now to connect to the physical world. So you can start to see, from an analytical perspective, what behaviors do these people have? Where did they go? What were their activities in the world? So when you think about this, so what are the takeaways here? For me, this sounds like a cliche, but analog is becoming digital, right? Something that you considered analog behavior going to a car dealership, it is now a digital behavior. We live in a digital age. And I think that you can think of mobile really as, it can be the key and the hub to almost all of this mechanism to have a device with you that's connected to the world, to data sets, that's creating data. And I think one derivative of these two forces is that television is in for a major resurgence in a big way, because it's now connected digitally, target, measure, analyze digitally. And then ultimately, I'm a big believer in this. I don't know we'll ever get there, but 15, 20 years in the making, this long foretold myth of true one-to-one marketing, I think we are closer than ever. So that's it. Thank you very much for your time.